a parallel path because yes, college is still viable and it's still a good option, but the price of college is soaring. It's going through the roof. So we kind of mentioned this offline where if you graduate, your debt is up here and you're making entry levels. With CTE, you have no debt and you're making mid-level. So you see the different starting point. And most of the time they pay for you to go back to school. So you're only to go up.
Welcome to the We Are All Awesome show. We're your hosts, Randy Narciso and Carter Higley. And today, buckle up because we're talking with someone who is truly transforming the landscape of education. Our guest is a game changer, a builder of full CTE pathways, a champion for career-ready students, and a leader who turns big visions into real opportunities across entire districts. When you talk about someone who doesn't wait for change, but creates it, you're talking about Troy Long. Today's conversation is all about innovation, purpose-driven leadership, and the kind of work that actually moves the needle for students, families, and communities. If you care about the future of education, you're in the right place. Let's dive in because when leaders like Troy speak, the blueprint for the future gets clearer.
You are awesome. Woo-hoo! Giddy up with WiddyUP.
Let's kick off. Welcome to the We Are All Awesome show. Carter, good morning. How you doing?
Oh, man, Randy, I'm excited. Good morning. We've got quite the guest, don't we?
Yeah, we have Troy, Mr. Troy Long. I'm going to refer to him Troy. I'm a big USC fan, so I'll never forget that name. Men of Troy. Troy, fight on Trojans. Speaking of Trojans, my son, he came back over the weekend. He's at USC, came back over the weekend, and Carter's talking to me about his daughter who's at Tulane. And we always share these college stories, right? College stories about what they're doing now. It's college application season now. It's also financial aid season. So we're filling out all these financial aid forms, renewals. And Carter and I were thinking, you know what? Mr. Troy Long, he's going to give us some advice in terms of, hey, did we make the wrong decision to go to college? We're going to be $200,000 in debt after all that. But let me introduce Troy Long. Troy, can you just start off? Welcome. First of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you,
and
Brad.
just kind of give us a quick background in terms of tell our audience members of, kind of what you do, the groups that you've started, the groups that you run, just a quick, 1-2 minute overview of who you are, what you represent.
My name is Troy Long. I'm from the opposite coast. From New Jersey, so we're on a little bit of time difference. But I am the director of CTE. So CTE means Career and Technical Education. That is my background. I was a CTE student, CTE teacher, and have been a long time CTE administrator. I am extremely passionate about this. It is life-changing and it's so rewarding because it changed my life and it rewards me daily. Students are passionate about it, so I'm passionate about it. So I got behind it. So that's why I'm kind of here today. I also coach sports and I got a program that I'm partnered with called Cadet Rising, and we do a lot of things in the sports education realm as well. So, I'm kind of all over the place with that, but my main focus is CTE. I go around the country speaking about it. I wrote a book about it that called the CTE Experience. It's on Amazon. So I'm really, really into this because I know what it could do for communities. It could change communities and it could change trajectories of student life. That's my elevator pitch.
That was a strong elevator pitch. Randy, you want to pick up from there? Because I want to dive right in. I'm ready to rock.
No, I'm going to go ahead and let you ask the first question, Carter. I know I could see it in your eyes and all the questions are coming up, and I'm going to piggyback off your questions initially, Carter. So go ahead, ask the first one.
You're so passionate about career technical education. Give us an idea. Speak to us as if we have no understanding what CTE is. What does that mean? What is it? What's going on with it?
Okay, so maybe 20 years ago, it was called vocational education. So people thought it was vocational education. That's where they sent the students that it's like, oh, they're not college bound. They will send them to the vocational schools to, do a lot of hands-on stuff. Well, that changed with all the new initiatives from the federal government. We have the Perkins 5. CTE is embedded with college credits throughout. So you can go through your CTE pathway and get college credit. But the most important part is you get industry value credentials and you get hands-on real world experience. So you're actually changing the narrative now where I'm able to have experience instead of being someone that graduated from college with no experience. So you're in a different trajectory. Now I'm getting educational credentials, which credentials that's been verified by the Department of Labor that will help you in this job market, in this job field. So now you're being boosted up another level. In addition, I'm giving you college credit. So a lot of the times, these employers will send them back to finish their college
Okay. Okay.
and and it's free. So now you have a CTE student that have all this stuff that's free, and so they're starting from a position where they're up because they're not bringing them in at entry level. So that's the beauty of CTE, and that's why I'm so passionate about it because we do like so every area that you have it, we do something called a comprehensive local needs assessment. So whatever needs are locally in like the job market, that local needs. And so that's why we would make our CTE pathways and programs fill those jobs in that area.
Okay.
So now students are be able to go through high school and fill a need in their community and help, change their community. And instead of say like if you were in college, most of the times you go away and then you stay where you at or in that area.
Mm.
So that's like outsourcing. But
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Good analogy there.
you build up your community. This is potential to change community, especially urban and rural communities. This should be the way to go because this is how you fix it. Because your talent is not leaving, your talent is growing. The community there.
Yeah.
So,
I love this. So let me jump on that real fast. One thing that you said many things that are incredibly compelling and intriguing. Let me make sure I understood a few things correctly. It's almost, if I understand it, a supply demand. There's an analysis of what's going on in the community. I understand the applicant or the person, the student that has been through CTE, what's available and where my skill can be used. So there's a match almost of the supply demand right there in my community. Did I get that part correct?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's why we work with the Department of Labor. Department of Labor, we get they do all that heavy lifting and come up with what the needs are. And we say, okay, we could, start a pathway that fulfills that need. So for instance, in my school, we're about to start a vet tech
Mm.
pathway. Why? Because in our general area, there's a need for it. So what they say, high wage, high demand. That's the keys for us to create pathways. The high wage, high demand. We do not want low wage, low demand because that's not going to help the student.
Okay.
So
Okay. That
those
makes sense.
pathways should be aligned to high wage, high demand. So now it's a lot of extra paperwork that goes into building CTE programs. People just don't understand all of that stuff because it's an issue with marketing and branding and the communication. So you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
So to
for
speak.
sure. For sure. Let me ask a follow-up question there, and I want to
No,
provide.
Randy, I've got all the questions. I don't want you to be.
No, I know. Similar for me, my mind is spinning, and I got a bunch of questions in terms of just clarification. A lot of our members, our audience members, and viewers, there's a traditional path of college, right? After high school, you're going to college. You're going to college. You're going to college. Let me ask you, Troy. Are you saying CTE is a separate path? Is it a parallel path? Does it go into college? Just explain that to our audience members in terms of how CTE fits into this college path, if at all.
Well, I say it's a parallel path because yes, college is still viable and it's still a good option, but the price of college is soaring. It's going through the roof. So, we kind of mentioned this offline where if you graduate, your debt is up here and you're making entry levels. With CTE, you have no debt and you're making mid level. So you see the different starting point. And most of the time they pay for you to go back to school. So you're only to go up. So as opposed to college where it takes you about 10 years to get even, and
Yeah.
then you
Yeah.
start going up. So you're behind the eight ball. And that's not everybody though. So I want to make
Okay.
that clear.
Okay.
But the reason I'm so big on CTE because it's data and it's facts that show that it increases school attendance. It does a lot of things. It increases your content specific vocabulary. It increases your math skills. Why? Because you're seeing that in real world application and practicality. When
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah. Yeah.
in regular
Okay.
math
Okay.
class, I don't understand the Pythagorean theorem. I don't use that no more since I graduated. But
That's A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
but now if you're in welding or if you're in carpentry, you're learning those angles and you're
Yeah.
seeing
Yeah.
put the real world practice and your content specific vocabulary. You're talking about these high level words. So when you're doing your essays now, you're able to articulate stuff that you couldn't before. So that increases your overall.
Yeah. But let's be real here. So, do you think traditional college is overrated? I mean, you've built entire programs proving that students can succeed without following the so-called, college or bus model, right?
Well,
So, I have to ask, in your honest opinion, is traditional college still worth it for most students today, or has it become an outdated system that really ignores the talent and the skill-based success that you talked about?
well, I would say 50-50 because I believe it's a lot of college majors that are not profitable and it's putting people into debt. And
Okay.
and they
Good
don't
point.
talk
Great point.
to them about that. They kind of want your money because everything is for profit. You got to remember that. So even though they're educating you, they're still trying to make money.
Let me interrupt you real quick. Just that career planning you're talking about, right? The importance of career planning, knowing what this career path looks like in the future. And you also mentioned it in terms of how AI is going to impact that. So if I have a high school student, my own son, that says, Dad, I want to be an accountant. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're not going to have a job because AI is going to be doing all that, right?
So now it's twofold. So when they're young with CTE, we do exploratory programs. So
Mm,
so it's like maybe eighth grade, ninth grade exploratory. So you get to touch it, feel it, taste it, and see, oh, I like this
love
one.
it.
I like
Love
this.
it.
So now you're more aligned to make better decisions. And then now we're also infusing AI with CTE. So I just wrote the AI curriculum for New Jersey. I got a seminar later this month where I'm presenting to teachers and educators about how we're going to roll out AI robotics and this and that and the third, but it's still aligned with college credits, it's still aligned with work-based learning. We're doing things to, move that narrative and show you how to infuse the next wave
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
technology into what you're doing. So that's what I love about CTE. We're very responsive to what's going on. So, yeah,
Yeah.
so
Okay, so let me jump in. I'm curious. You said something that also Randy and I have heard a lot about, which is when a kid can identify a tangible thing that they do and imagine and see in their mind a path forward, it improves literally their lot in life, meaning it gives them a sense of feeling empowered and enthusiastic and excited about something different than how you put it, which is I'm sitting in class learning about the Pythagorean theorem, which how on earth is this going to affect me in the future? Have you seen that yourself from a kid that's like, hold on a second, in this exploratory session, I'm learning that I really like rolling up my sleeves and fixing something. And at the end of the day, seeing what I did come to fruition. Have you seen that improve?
all the time. And the reason why, because now the kids have a stake and a say in what they do. It's as
Yeah.
opposed to, most of these classes we take, we have to do it because they're graduating requirements. So if a kid doesn't like math and English, and you put math and English in the beginning of the day, what happens? Oh, I'm taking my time getting to school because I don't like those classes. But if my CTE courses are in the beginning of the day, period one, period two, you think you're going to come late to your favorite class? So now that boosts attendance, that boosts
Mm,
everything
mm.
because you got them and you grabbed them early as opposed to you trying to figure it out later. So like I said, it changes the narrative, it changes lives, it does all this stuff, but people just don't understand that because our traditional model is testing, who got the highest SAT score, yada yada yada. But that does not translate into saving everybody. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
worry about saving everyone we can, but providing them opportunities to be productive members of society.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Let me ask a follow-up question there. You mentioned tests. So why are we still teaching students to take tests instead of teaching them to build futures? There's the big emphasis on the SAT test, ACT. You've seen firsthand how CTE transforms lives, real world skills, certifications, and career readiness, right? Why do you think so many school systems still prioritize standardized tests over programs that actually lead to jobs and independence?
A lot of money behind it. Point blank period. It's a lot of money
Yep.
behind it. So
Yep.
you have a lot of people that's throwing money at it. So they want to have a benchmark, so to speak. So based off of this, then you could say, well, these kids are this school district is that, but that does not indicate the real talent that you have in there. All right, so we may come from an area that we don't have high test scores, but we come from an area that we provide this, we provide that. So it doesn't make you less than or better than because of your test score. It just opportunities that you have. So again, provide the opportunity, and the cream rises to the top. And people, once they pick their path and their lot, if they're happy about it, they're going to go hard and they're going to make some positive decisions, as opposed to trying to make it one size fit all and cookie cutter. And that where you lose a lot of kids, and that's where
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
connect to education, because you're forcing them down the path that they may not be interested in. More than likely, they're
That's
not.
key. That's key.
So let's do some X's and O's real quick, because our audience is hearing this and they're going to want to say, okay, literally, what is my best next step? Because this sounds very intriguing. I'm a high school kid. Okay. I'm your audience right now, and I want to pursue CTE. Walk me through my best next steps on A, how to do that now, and B, what it looks like for me when I step out of my senior year in high school.
So it's various ways you can go about it. Depending on your high school, whatever program they have, you could get into a pathway. The hard part about that is if you're in 11th grade, it's going to be real difficult, because normally it's
Just
3
the timing.
years. Yeah,
Timing.
normally it's 3 years. You go 10th, 11th, and 12th. Or you could do what I have a shared time program where they do half a day 11th, half a day at 12th. But those are very unique situations. But if you go through a traditional high school, your 9th grade year could be your exploratory year, and your 10th, 11th, 12th, you're in your pathway doing it that way. If
Okay.
by some
Okay.
chance I'm talking to 11th and 12th graders now, and you don't have these options in your school, they have adult school for that, where you get out and it's super cheap. So I also have night school for adults. That, a lot of times I'm taking
You
18.
created those schools, Troy?
No, I did not create a school. They set up with our local county schools. So
Okay. Okay.
there-
Got
we
it.
have
Got it.
20 counties. Each county school, they have the opportunity to have these programs, and we work in conjunction with the local community college as well. So
Got it.
there's articulation there. But our cost is like 1/4 of whatever. Like, so if they're paying 10,000 somewhere else, you're paying 2,000 with me. So it's not a break the bank type of
Okay.
deal, but you're getting a hands-on experience from industry people. So you could still do it when you get out as well. So those are the two major ways to go about it.
But
And it does,
these CTE programs you're talking about, they have to be already available at the high school? Is that what
yeah,
you're saying? There has
yeah.
to be an official program at the school.
Mhm.
And
So
I also hear from him, Randy, better to get involved 9th
Early.
grade, because by the time you get 11th, 12th, there's still an opportunity, because there's that school for adults post high school. But
Yeah.
if you're looking to do this in high school, you want to jump in 9th grade. Am I correct?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And,
And
like I said, the reason being because it's spaced out, and you could get the better experience when you go that way, because there's a lot of stuff that's embedded into CTE. We got something called CTSOs, which career and technical student organizations, where they like, let's say we have Skills USA. For business, you have DECA, stuff like that. So you do competitions, they do you additional training, additional funding, scholarships there. So CTE has so many layers embedded in it that it's just not talked about enough. So people don't
yeah. Yeah.
understand all these opportunities that these kids are getting in high school.
Yeah. But what if my school, how do I even know if my high school offers CTE? Right? And if they don't, am I now stuck? I mean, it's going to take a year before a CTE program comes into the school, right?
Right.
I mean, not every school has CTE, correct? I mean, private schools for sure. I
Private
mean, they don't.
private schools are not, no. But most schools have some form of CTE, even if they don't have it as an official CTE pathway, because it's paperwork, like I said, is involved that you got to send to each
Okay.
state, that you got to be an approved program, because we get funding by
Yes.
by having an approved program. So we get federal funding to have approved CTE program. So you would
Got
check
it.
your
Got it.
guidance
A
counselor.
lot of charter schools have CTE, correct? Is that correct?
Not as much as you think.
No.
They
Okay.
don't. So I have a friend that runs a charter network, and his thing is college, 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 and I wanted to partner with him because we're like friends. um,
Okay.
if he hears this, he's gonna laugh at me, because he's like, and do it. My mission um is college. But I was trying to explain to him is that, hey, you could still have CTE that embeds college. And you see what I'm saying? You can still get an associate's degree through some of these pathways if we work on the articulation agreement portion of it. So they can go hand in hand. It just depends on the amount of work you're willing to do. Like I know my current district that I work in now, like we go hard for our students. Like we get excited about the opportunities. We budget money to pay for these college programs and these college credits for these students because that's what we want. That's the goal for us is that have as many kids get associate degrees as possible. So we value the education piece, but we are a CTE school. We make no bones about that. CTE is first and foremost, but education is embedded within CTE, and it
Okay.
saves
Okay.
you money because it's free.
I mean, I need to learn the real estate market in your area because I think I'm going to move my whole family there and make my kids get into your program. Let me ask you this question. Help our audience now. Give us some examples of things that our kids might be able to do CTE, because you've now talked about something that's really interesting to me as a kid, but help me apply that to what I might be able to do from a career.
So the best thing about CTE is like 16 career clusters. So
Yeah.
it's everything under the sun you could think about. So if one of y'all just randomly name a profession, it's more than likely if
I
it's
want to be an auto mechanic.
okay. So we have auto, and so I'll break down auto. So it was great. I have 3 layers of auto in my current district. I have just the regular automotive. I have diesel, and then I also have the auto body, which is they train them how to, get the dents out and all that stuff and fix the car. So within that, we have something called, like I said before, IVCs, industry value credentials. So I'm giving them the hands-on. They're fixing, like I actually just had them fix my son's car, which is amazing. And so like, you know, but in addition to that, we have the industry value credentials. We do ASE and I do ICAR. So those are industry standard credentials that my kids take on
Okay.
break,
Okay.
et cetera, et cetera. There's 8 for ASC, and I believe it's 4 for ICAR. If I got that wrong, please blame it on the head, not the heart. But so those kids have potential to get 12 different certifications through that program, in addition to the hands-on. And now they do work-based learning, which that's the icing on the cake. So
Yeah. Okay.
I got kids that working at car dealerships and working in the automotive
You're
department.
able to do that in high school. The work.
Eh, Yes, the work-based
Exactly
learning.
it right there, Randy. See,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let me take the other end of the spectrum. I want to be a lawyer, doctor, engineer. Do you have any CTE programs for that?
Yes, so let me go engineering because like I said, I just talked about the AI that I'm doing. That falls under my engineering program, but we have a straight engineering program that you're getting all of this stuff, and they're doing those credentials as well in the engineering because it's that important. So when we see a need, each state is fulfilling that need. So these clusters that I spoke about, those 16, that's countrywide. Everybody has those things, and I'm affiliated with a group, ACTE, which is like I said, countrywide. And so they have those 16 clusters. So most people, if you're a CTE teacher, you should be affiliated with ACTE because it gives you a wealth of information. We have a huge conference every year. This year is in Tennessee in December, 10,000 people. So, but it's all CTE people sharing best practices and things of that nature. And I go there and I learn every year. Like I'm
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
speak this year. It's one of those things where, we just want to keep the messaging, keep the messaging.
Okay. Okay. If I'm a mechanic a student in high school and I just graduated, I completed the CTE program. I wanted to work for a dealership or even start working at a auto shop or mechanic shop. I'm going to have the credentials. I'm going to have the experience. They're going to pick me versus anyone else that didn't go through that CTE program. At the same time, if I wanted to be an engineer and I went through this CTE program, I'm going to be way ahead of anyone else wanting to go to college anyway. So, I mean, I could see CTE as a differentiator, a big,
That's
significant differentiator in terms of I'm a college. Who do I want to accept into this college? A CTE person, a CTE student that has the experience, has the knowledge, has the certifications, or someone who's still figuring it out. And that's okay. But my point is CTE, you talked about your friends. CTE can complement college, that college path if you do it correctly as well. Is that correct, Troy?
yes. So, and you just made me think of someone you say that. So we have to do something called advisory boards with our CTE. So we bring in industry professionals, but we also bring in the colleges as well. So that you just said it best, where now the colleges are kind of directing us of what we need to teach the kids or they get ready for them because they're giving their input. So everything we do is based off of what's happening in the industry, what's best practice. If they say, oh, you need to start using this equipment because that's how we're pivoting to this because of that. We are now doing that. And then whatever the college telling us we need to do, we're
Got it. Got it.
that well. So now these kids are ready for you. Like you said, I'm giving you a ready product. And to take it a step further about the
Yeah,
job.
yeah, yeah. I need to better understand that,
Hold
Troy.
on, hold on. I want to hear what Mr. Finish that thought, Troy.
I said with the job, with the work-based learning, they're kind of grooming them. So like I'm teaching you, I'm getting you ready for once you out, like we're getting kids that get hired from these work-based learning experiences. So
Let me jump on that, Randy. Sorry, I want to take this for 1
Yeah.
second because I hear something that's incredibly helpful for the college because y'all are putting 2 and 2 together, which is if I'm a college, I now have a kid that's intentional. So I know I'm going to have him or her likely for 4 years. So I don't lose that kid, which is a loss of money for the college because I've got this kid that's intentional and has the background because of CTE, number one. And then number two, I, as the college, can now say, and by the way, our kids get jobs out of our college because, as Mr. Troy said, they're going in and they're highly skilled and qualified, and an employer is looking to that kid and they want to have that kid as opposed to the one that either might still be figuring it out or not have all of that background. So I can see that being hugely advantageous for the college. Are you tracking, Randy?
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. And I'm a little bit confused, Troy, in terms of you say we, right? Is this a local program that you're offering, or is it a national program? Share that with the audience members.
So yes, it's a national. Because CTE is in every state, everywhere. It's all, so if you don't have it, you can start CTE, and most of the time it's with no startup cost. And then once you have it like laid out properly, like I said, you can get funding for the government to do the program. You just got to fill out the paperwork. That's the key. You got to do this paperwork and track where your students are going. So we got, it's about data. So I need to know how many kids I have on work-based learning, how many kids I have that are getting certifications, and how many kids have an IDC. All of those things matter because they want to make sure they're using their money wisely. But every school district can start one if they want to do it. But just the focus is not there because, like I said before, they don't know what they don't know. They
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
understand what they're missing. If you want to get more engagement out of your students, especially urban and rural communities, this is the way to go. This is a game changer for you.
I want to make sure that we capture a few things that are particularly important, both to having you as our guest and to our audience. Share with us how our audience might learn more. What are the more effective ways for our families and kids to learn more about this? Can you give us, number one, a few resources, but also tie it back to your personal program so that we make sure they know about what it is you're doing? Because the things that you're saying are a really big deal.
So I mentioned before, I wrote a book called The CTE Experience. It's on Amazon. The CTE Experience, the Hook Urban Education. And that was, the culmination of my life, so to speak. I was a student. In the 12th grade, I got involved in CTE. I was too late to get a complete pathway, but I did enough that I was a member of DECA. So it sparked everything that I'm talking about. CTE student, teacher, et cetera, et cetera. So my whole educational career has been evolved around CTE. And so I've helped build a lot of programs, and we just used it based off of that model. The more I learned, the more I say, okay, let's have this comprehensive local needs assessment. Make sure we have the proper partners at the table, and then let's see how can we build. Which is beautiful because they have it set up for you now. That is really easy. If you want to do it, you gotta just find the right partners. And there's a lot of people that's doing it. But again, I don't think the messaging is what it needs to be because it's not out there like that because it's not put up there with the option of going to college. It's put up there as an afterthought, which with the way the money is going, this should not be an afterthought. I don't want to be in debt and I want to make money. The cost of living is rising. So how can you make more money? You find out what's, a niche in your area. And that way you don't have to worry about having to leave your area or move because the opportunity is not there. Well, opportunities are there. People with the skills to fill those gaps are not there. So they're bringing in people from outside of your community to fill those gaps. So let's make sure the community has this information and this talent take the job to change their community because that's where they live at. So that's what it's all about for me. So again, I use my book, and now the district that I am now, we just constantly evolving, but that's the best thing about it. I work for the assistant superintendent and superintendent that's really forward thinking, and we just go like, hey, let's do this, let's do this. Like we're willing to try some, even if it doesn't work, because it benefits the students in our community, and that's the key. You
Yeah.
got That's what you got to be focusing on. I'm not focused on test scores. Test scores are not changing my community. I can have the highest test scores in the world. How is that changing your community? And it's not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you talk about change. So change. So if you were running the entire U.S. education system, what's that one radical change you'd make tomorrow? So you've built partnerships between schools, the state, and real industries, right? So if you had the power to call it flip the script, funding, curriculum, leadership, what's that first thing you'd fix to make education truly career relevant?
So I would mandate that every middle school has exploratory program. So that way,
Even younger than high school, middle school.
yeah,
Okay.
so they have
Yeah.
it in middle school, and the reason I would do that because now you'll be in a better position to pick the way you want to go
Mm,
instead of
yeah.
to say, okay, I want to go be a lawyer, I want to be, but you did exploratory programming, and I'm not talking about one. Give them a whole multitude of things, 5 or 6 that you could, oh, I like this, oh, I don't like this, but you're not hurting anything at that point in time. You're not getting off track and taking 2 or 3 years or
I
something
love that. I
that
love that.
I went to
Exploratory
college. I
program.
thought I was going to be an accountant. So it's funny y'all say that. I got to accountant too. I was like, oh no, this not for me.
Mm,
So this thing about it, I found out my sophomore year in college as opposed to
mm,
my freshman year in high school, and
yeah.
I was
Critical.
paying money for these classes to realize that I didn't like it. I liked the concept of it until I started doing it. I didn't like it. So you could figure all that stuff out when it's not costing you anything.
Yeah, no, I love that. And not only just exploratory classes and exploratory courses and experiences, but you also need call it the counselor to guide you there, right? In terms of, understanding what you're good at. Just because you went through that course, you need to still understand. Carter mentioned interest, values, and skills. What are you good at? What do you like doing? And then sharing that career path. So there's a part of it where, you need some type of assessment analysis that goes along with that. Right.
Like
I think that's also
almost
key.
like an aptitude
Yes,
assessment.
but see,
Yeah.
now here's the crazy thing. Everything you're saying is correct, but the amount of people that have knowledge of CTE is so low that they still gonna say, oh, even though you're this, you still should be taking these college classes and this and that, and they'll still push you the wrong way because they don't have counselors that have a fundamental understanding of all the
Yes.
opportunities
Yes.
he has. So like I take that back to our messaging, and our information needs to be stronger so people can know more about what CTE is so they can help students better if they knew
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. And I like what you're saying there in terms of you start earlier. My initial call it perception was try to understand where you want to be in high school, where you want to go, where you are at today, where you want to be, how you're going to get there in high school. But if you do that in middle school, identify what you're good at, identify that path and fuel it, right? Fuel it. I mean, that's the key takeaway there. And doing that at a middle school level, I think you'll change the entire education system with that.
So you won't be wasting your time with stuff like we do. Education, a lot of it is a waste. Like we have all these requirements to make you well-rounded.
Yeah.
What instead of
Yeah. For
like,
sure.
I found something that I love. I want to specialize in it, but I gotta take time away, do all this stuff, for these requirement purposes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not,
Yeah.
that's not helping me or anybody else. So that kind of hurts those students because it puts them to behind the 8 ball. And this
Yeah.
happens in other places, like other countries, where they are specialized. So I'll say that in basketball, like a lot of places are taking middle school kids and they're putting them in academies and camps. And now you're starting to see a lot of good players come from overseas because they've been specializing for a long time. Whereas we can't do that here because we got so many other things we have to do. We're
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
Don't start talking basketball because we'll be spending 4 more hours with Coach Randy.
yeah.
Mr. Long, this has been both eye-opening. It's been wildly exciting for me. This is the language that Randy and I and our WiddyUP team speak. This is what we believe is the path to take in relation to the likes of the CTE opportunity. You mentioned the exploratory opportunity for our middle school kids, which is directly in the wheelhouse of what we're encouraging and stressing at WiddyUP. Randy, I think that we're bumping up against time, but I'd like to ask you, Mr. Long, can we have you back? Because there's so much that we haven't touched on that we really want to get your feedback around and engagement, because what you're doing is making such an earth-shattering impact. It's amazing.
Oh, listen, I love to come back. I love to talk about this stuff because, like I said, my job is to get the message out there because it's going to change so many people's lives, and it's an easy fix for a lot of things that we have going on. So
Yeah, one of the things that we want to also focus on in our next episode, Troy, is kind of partnerships, working together, collaborating. We've talked a lot about, the things that you're doing. Carter, you want to ask Troy our most
Oh
important
gosh,
question of the day?
we can't let him go without the most relevant question, perhaps, because maybe we've already heard the answer. I'm going to ask it anyway. So you come alongside your 10-year-old self and you put your arm around him and you give him a piece of advice that only you know now because you've got a lot of water under the bridge. You've lived some life. What do you share with your 10-year-old self that you wish you had known then?
to focus in and take school more serious. I did not take school serious until I got in my sophomore year in college. I did just enough to get by. So it cost me a lot of opportunity, but I think I'm on the path that I was supposed to be, but I just didn't, understand the, that ninth through the 12th grade dictates how hard you work for the rest of your life.
That's key.
Let that sink in. When kids
Yeah.
come in and they mess up, they're so far behind the other students. Now they have to work so much harder to play catch up because they mess up in the ninth through the 12th grade. So that's my key. Lock in from the ninth to 12th grade, your life changes because you have
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
opportunity when you can show that you're kind of a focused young man or young woman.
Thanks for sharing that. And all I got to say is, man, what a conversation. Troy Long didn't just talk about career and technical education. He really reminded us that real success doesn't always come with a diploma, it comes with direction, right? Understanding where you need to go. The truth is, every student has something powerful inside them, a skill, a spark, a story. And it's leaders like Troy who help turn those into purpose, right? He talked about his book, Buy It, go on Amazon, the CTE Experience, buy the book by Troy Long. He talked about the perception of vocational education. You're not college bound, so you should be vocational school. Impact of CTE for high school and middle school students, really changing the trajectory of their lifetime success. So if you're watching this, here's the challenge. Stop measuring potential by GPA and test scores and start measuring it by grit, creativity, hustle, and the importance of an education that Troy mentioned, right? Because as Troy showed us, there's more than one way to become awesome, more than one way. And on behalf of Carter and myself, this is the We Are All Awesome show. Let's witty up and keep proving that awesome isn't the exception. It's who we are. Witty up. Thank you.
WiddyUP.
Thank you for having me, guys.